Next is bike, and Kurt from Tri Sports. And we have one major rule for biking for TIFL MI. No helmet? No. You got it. So we also want to make sure that you don't have curlers in your hair underneath your helmet. It's happened before. You all look at me like, yeah, right. No, it's happened. We want to make sure that the helmet is on correctly. I'm sure he's going to remember that. But we want to make sure that everyone's got a helmet, because if they don't, there's no ride. So this is Kurt from Tri Sports. He's ready to rock and roll with some bike stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to have, this is Maureen. Maureen is a cycle coach as well. She does a lot of group rides with me here. She works at Tri Sports in Wilmington. We're very good friends. We train together, swim together. She's actually my swim coach. So she knows a lot about cycling as well. She's a great cyclist, multi-triathlon. She's going to help with some stuff. I'm going to start off on that to go into safety. And Maureen was big. She's like, mention safety when you can. And I'm glad you led with that, because that's beyond important. This is, I mean, you can't ride without it. People ask me all the time. They come in the store to buy a new bike. Is it against the law to ride without a helmet? Yeah, it is. It's also against the law to ride without lights on your bike. Is that true? No. It's a blatant lie. But you have to wear You absolutely cannot. I will stop people on the road. I'll stop, if you don't believe me, I stopped 2 Air Force guys going up 74, coming to Charlotte from Wilmington. They're riding on the side of, what was it, I-74. I'm riding along, and I pull over and I'm like, what are you two doing? I'm like, we're riding. First of all, you're riding on the interstate. Number 2, you're riding with no helmets. I took both their bikes, I threw them on my car, I drove to the Leland exit, I dropped them off in the Food Line parking lot. I was like, you need to call somebody to get a ride. I don't play games when it comes to safety. So this is yes. Always, 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 never, never. You forget your helmet?
Just to show how it fits.
Yeah, proper fit. That's another
most
thing.
helmets can twist on the back. You want it nice and snug. You want to make sure the straps, this is probably a little bit too loose, because you want the straps to be right, fairly snug, not so you can't move in your immovable.
Right. Forehead, back of the head, sides covered, you're good. That's the most important thing. So we'll go on past that. But I appreciate somebody leading into that, and thank you, Maureen, for reminding me to say that. Lights, too, I brought some, we'll go over later, because I know we're kind of time bound. The one thing, I've done a lot of clinics. I've done Bike 101 clinics. I just did a huge flat tire clinic. It was awesome. It was a great turnout. People learned a lot. The one thing about Tri Sports that we really pride ourselves on is we're open. We're an open environment for coming in to learn about triathlon, fitness, nutrition, cycling, running. We're like a one-stop shop. I'm not plugging my store because of what we do. I'm saying it's a non-intimidating place for you to let your people know that it's easy to come to us, especially in the cycling side and especially on the running side. The one big thing about cycling that people get into, most of us can ride a bike. Everybody in this room can ride a bike, and everybody that's coming to you and want to do this can ride a bike. Can they do it properly? Maybe, maybe not. But we're going to, if it's okay, you want to go ahead and start here? Yep. One thing we want to do is we want to get into the gear. I've seen so many people in triathlons ride the entire distance in one gear. One gear. I mean, I'm talking people that I know that know bikes. I was doing a race in Raleigh last spring and passed a girl. I had just sold her bike about a week and a half before, and she was walking her bike up the hill. And I'm passing her, and I'm like, Elizabeth, get on your bike. She's like, I can't do it. And she's like, I can't get it to go forward. And I look over, and it's in the big ring, and it's in the middle ring. And I'm like, okay.
That wasn't me.
No. That girl's become a great. I got her off her bike. I changed it, and get back on it. And she rode. And she was like, oh. So a light has to go off. She found this video on YouTube, which summarizes gear changing. Yeah, the lights might help. Perfect. I'm going to stop this and maybe I might write some notes, but maybe not. If you want to go ahead and start at least, I kind of know what I'm going to call it.
I work with the service department at Full Cycle, and I'm going to talk to you about how to shift gears on your bicycle. There's a few very basic things that you should make note of when you're shifting on your bike. The first thing is that you don't want to apply a lot of pressure to the chain.
Stop there for me. That's a big component there. Okay, you don't need, when you're shifting your bike, when you're shifting your gears, it doesn't need to sound like a machine gun. It doesn't have, I don't want to hear bam, bow, bow. What you're doing is that you're constantly keeping pressure on that chain, and you're asking the chain to go from one slot to another, and you're talking grinding metal on metal. You've heard it? I mean, I know you've heard somebody going up the hill and you hear this, ta-tum, ta-tum, ta-tum. That's terrible, terrible. So what he's saying, and I'm going to stop him and let him go back to it. When you're applying pressure, you're coming over the top of the pedals, and you're bringing your other foot over, and you're throwing your toe forward over the top, relax for a second if you're going to change your gear. So when you're coming over and you get ready to change, you're pedaling, give it a second, change your gears, get back to your pedal. You're going to do it again, give it a second, go back to it. If you're right foot dominant, do it when your right's coming over. So if you're right foot dominant, you're pedaling, oh, I need to change my gears, it's getting hard. Easy up, change it, get into it. If you're left foot dominant, right, left foot into it. It's going to make the shift a lot easier. It'll make your chain last longer, and you won't have to come see me. That's always a good thing. Go ahead.
Anytime you shift gears, you should relax your pedaling, continue to pedal, shift the bike, wait till it completely engages in the gear, and then apply pressure again. That's the one major thing to keep in mind. The other thing is most bicycles nowadays are 3 chain rings on the front, 9 cassettes.
Okay. What he's saying is some newer bikes are beginning to come with only 2 rings in the front. You don't have the granny gear anymore. Okay? I'm not going to get really deep into that because they've learned that they don't need the granny gear if you do the combinations right from front to rear. Most bikes will have anywhere from 9 to 10 speeds on it that have been made within the last 3 or 4 years. Some might have 8, so a slightly older bike. That 8 speed is going to come with 1 in the front. I'm going to slow down so it don't want to get too fast. What he's saying is that the gearing combinations are going to be 3 in the front to 9 to 10 in the back. His demonstration shows 3 in the front. So I might stop. I'm going to show something during that. But his demonstration of this is wonderful. So keep it kind of quiet and really focus and pay attention to what he's saying, and I'll elaborate more after he does what he's doing.
Cogs on the back, so 27 gears. But really, out of those 27 gears, there's only about 14 gear combinations you should use. There is an overlap. The reason there is 27 gears is so that
forget every number he just said.
gain the extremely low gears as well as the high gears. So I will go through the gears here and show you how to shift your gears. Okay, so when you're riding your bicycle, we're just going to pretend that we're riding up a hill. It's going to flatten out, and then we're going to go down the other side of the hill. So this is the order that you should go through your gears. So starting out climbing a steep hill, we should be in the small chainring on the front and the large cog on the back. As it becomes easier, or you're cresting the hill, we'll shift down here to make it a little bit harder to pedal. You'll gain a little speed. Again, gaining a little more speed. And here, once you get down halfway down the cassette on the back, what you want to do at this point is you want to move from the small chainring to the middle chain. And generally, at the same time you do that, you will shift up 1 gear on the back. That's the next hardest gear. As you continue along and it gets easier and easier, you will shift to a harder gear.
Okay, what he's doing is he's focusing on something. Maureen said this to follow up what Jackie said. This is all about cadence. Now, cadence is a word that she uses to keep pace when you're running. Tap, 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 tap. We use it in cycling to do the same thing. Pedal, 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 revolution, cadence, cadence, movement, movement. Use your gears to keep that and pass that on to your peers, because you see so often, you see spinning out of control when you're going downhill, and then you get this when you're going back uphill. That's because you're in the same gear. Because you're using a gear that you don't need, and you're using momentum to go down, but then when you hit the bottom of that hill and you start to go back up, it's like, oh God, that's like the way the world's grabbed you by the back and it's pulling you down the hill. That's when you change your gears to an easier gear. When you're going downhill and it's spinning out of control, use your gears to gain more resistance for more speed. Now, more speed when you're coming down the hill, to go back up, you've got here, like he's changing his gear. You change here, more resistance, more resistance, more resistance. Your final shift is for that good resistance all the way through here. Then you shift again for less resistance before you get there. Not when you get there, right before you get there. So you'll want to hit that gear to get less resistance here, and then work your way through the easier gears as it becomes harder to go. So it's here, here, and here. Go ahead. And I think that's
Here again. And then just before you get to the last 2 or 3 cogs on the back, you will want to shift up again 1 or 2 gears and go into the large chainring on the front. And as it gets easier, you're going faster, you'll continue to downshift to harder or smaller cogs on the back. Now we're in hardest gear on the bike, and you're cruising along at high speed. You ended up in a hill down the other side. Now we're approaching another hill. You'll do the exact same in reverse. When you need an easier gear, you'll shift up 1 on the back. As you need an easier gear, keep shifting until you get to the middle of the cassette. At this point, you'll drop from the large chainring down to the middle, gently downshift the gear on the back, continue to climb up. Once you get close to the top end of the cassette, you'll shift down and go into the small chainring, right? And then climb to the last or easiest gear. Now you're in the climb mode again. That's the best way to go through your gears on your bike. If you shifted through your gears properly, one of the things
Okay. Actually, let it play for just a second.
to avoid is cross chain, which is when the chain is
Okay.
in small.
Does anybody know what I say by saying cross chain?
Yes.
Okay, good. You ever ride beside somebody and all you hear is grrrr, that's cross chain. What that means is that they've got the chain in the smallest side and the smallest side opposing. So you've got the chain all the way down here, and you've got the chain on the smallest ring in your front. What that's going to do is that's going to rub your derailleur. Derailleur is the thing that moves your chain from the front to the big and back here. That rubbing, it does nothing but excessively wear out your chain. I know it can be annoying and it can be everything else. You got to think about maintaining your gears, staying with that cadence. Cross chain is bad. So when you hear that, you've got to figure out where you are, number one, if you're on a rolling hill or whatever, to get out of that cross chaining and find a more efficient gear. You do that by manipulating your gears either upward this way, finding the middle, get it out of there, find the middle, and then manipulate the front to find the resistance. Okay, I know this is fast, and we're going to get through this so I can talk more about it. I think that's all he says about cross chaining. Let's watch the very last one.
Chainring on the front and a small chainring on the back. The bicycle will work, but it does not work well in this configuration. The other configuration that is not good is when you're in the large chainring on the front and the large coupler on the back. Again, this will work, but it places a lot of stress on the chain and it doesn't feel very good when you cut it in that gear. So going through the gears in the order that we suggest will eliminate cross chaining and will allow you to be in the correct gear for the terrain that you're riding.
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah. What he was referring to, everyone, the biggest misconception and the biggest mistake I see with new riders and new people learning their bikes is that when they get delivered the bike, they ride it for whatever gear it was in from the day they get it. And that's okay for the beginning, but it ends up being big ring middle. Big ring middle. And I see it all the time. You've got to learn your bike, number one, and number two, really pay attention to, Jackie, the one afternoon we rode. What was the lady's name that rode with us that day?
Wanda?
Yes, Wanda, thank you.
Yes, she's a part of.
Yeah, I know, I remember.
Everyone knows Wanda.
Yeah.
She won a bike.
She did win a bike, that's right.
Yeah.
She won a raffle, it's in a raffle from us.
Yeah.
It hadn't clicked yet, but she had that just grinded out mentality. Just, I've got to just make it work. I've got to finish this. I've got to get off this bike. If you learn your bike, it's like someone gave you a faster pair of shoes. It's like someone just gave you an extra pull with that swim stroke, that extra grab and pull. Knowing how to use this piece of machinery. This is the only part of triathlon that you have an advantage to learn and get better at with your head, not necessarily physically. I mean, everybody wants to get stronger on the bike, but I've been passed by people just flying. They're just, it sounds like click, 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 and I hear them just go on by. I'm like, man, they out-geared me. But it happens, it's momentum. You got to keep that momentum going. If you're climbing a hill, you want to keep that momentum you've got at the bottom, keep it going to crest that hill. Don't fly down and pedal and then grind your way back up. Yeah, I know. It's, can I open it for Q&A?
Yeah, we have like 7 minutes.
I know, I went real fast, so I can I wanted to kind of speed through this so I can open up for Q&A, because Q&A is always big for bike, because,
Let me just say one thing about
Go ahead.
cadence before you're done. The point of it is the same point in running, is in the same thing in taking small steps.
yes.
If you maintain your cadence, and for triathlete typically above 90, and you can ask your coaches about that, but if you maintain a high cadence and don't grind it out in those big gears, then you're not overtaxing your muscles in your quads, which you need for the run. So it's really important to downshift when you need to shift to an easier gear to get up the hills, and then to, obviously take advantage of a downhill and shift into a heavier gear so you can, take advantage of it.
Yeah, yeah, she's exactly right.
So it's an efficiency. It all comes down to efficiency.
Right.
Again.
And essentially triathlon all boils down to saving that last fuel cell you have somewhere in here, wherever you're going to find it, to finish that run. I mean, that's just what it is. It comes down to nutrition, it comes down to hydration, drink on the bike, drink on the bike, drink on the bike, eat something and then drink some more. Every time you see an experienced person drinking on a bike, copy them.
And how,
Jackie, I was using the thing.
And then, a good thing too is that a lot of our new athletes won't have a clue how to drink and drive, or drink and ride.
Yes.
So we ourselves as mentors need to practice that as well so that we can show them the proper way. And being cautious, like once we get out on the road, they should be familiar already with the drinking and the riding. So our first few sessions, we could practice that and implement, okay, this is our drink and ride, a few minutes. Because a lot of the ladies that I've seen, they want to reach down, they have no control, and they're all over the place. So maybe you can speak to that, Kurt.
A little bit,
in an
sure.
easy way.
Sure.
Like how to teach it, maybe, like for tab.
Really, truly. No. Essentially, what you really want to pay attention to, if you're riding and you're riding along, and it's time to grab your water bottle from here, you're going to reach down in there and grab it.
But you don't use that in a water bottle.
Yeah.
No.
yeah, don't bring
You'd
it.
be surprised how many
No.
people come with that.
No. This does not work, okay? It's just an example. So if you're riding, you're cruising along, you're ready to reach down, slide one hand to the inside, right here. Stabilize yourself here. Get your bearings. Look down once, look up, look out about 10 feet, grab the top. If you don't have the top, go back. If you can't get it, you can't get it. It's no big deal. The worst part is this.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you're gonna fall that way. But stabilize yourself. Or, no. For new riders, no rear hydration, no bottles behind the jersey. None. Reaching back here can be just as disoriented because it's this. It's weight distribution. It's all about weight distribution. So if you ever notice someone that's really balanced on the bike, if they have 2 water bottles, they're both equally full of the same amount. One, if they have 3, one's stable, it's usually equipment. That's stable over the tire, stable. Because when you're riding along and you've got to get something to drink, you're going to relax your whole body, reach down, grab it, drink, and put it back in one motion. I don't want to get all into this about it. That's a safety issue more than anything else.
And for new cyclists, take breaks.
Yeah.
That's what
So
stop
like,
bikes are for.
honestly, put your foot down, teach them how to, put your foot down, and it's really okay to take a break so you can take some water.
Absolutely.
Because safety is number 1, and there were some other things you brought for safety.
Lights.
I was hit by a car at a stoplight last summer.
Oh.
So, I mean, at a stoplight. So, safety, I'm like huge on safety. That's why we're both wearing these color shirts. I'm like, wear your neon shirt. Please encourage your cyclists to wear, bright colors.
This goes in the back? Yeah. If you ever, when I lead group rides, I'm always in bright yellow. Always bright, bright, bright.
And it's not something to be afraid of. I mean, initially, yeah, I was afraid to go back on the road. But you know, you want to be out there. It's so much fun riding a bike. I mean, it's so much fun. And there's great pleasure in being able to travel in that way. So you have to, but the safety piece is really important.
Certainly, absolutely.
Cheryl?
Ask
Yeah,
what?
I just have a question about, I hear it differently. Do you gear up or gear down for more resistance, less resistance? Some people say gear up when I would say gear down, and then, and because of saying, you know, take a hydration break at a stoplight, and I want to tell people to gear down, because you're going to stop, and then they're not going to be able to go, and they get stuck.
He's
I am-
gonna bring the bike to you.
I'm a very big believer. Did you notice when we were going through this and he started talking numbers? No, I don't talk numbers. I don't talk up, down, left, right, gear, up, easier, up, harder. Harder and easier.
Yeah.
That's harder, that's easier. Wait, it's too easy, I want to go harder. Okay, so go down. Harder is down.
So if you're on your ride and you're like, okay guys, gear
Easier.
easier, because we're going to stop and take a water break. When you start, you don't want to.
It's easier in the, all right, for new riders, this is what I always tell new riders when they buy a bike from me as well. Don't worry about this one. Stay away from this one for a while.
The big, he's talking about the big
Talking about the big ring. This is the big ring, small ring. I'm a simple person in my head, so I like simple stuff. Big ring, small ring. Okay? Big ring, small ring. Big ring, small ring. Pretty simple. They're big and small, okay? In the back, harder, easier. So it's smaller, harder, bigger, easier. So if you tell them shift to an easier gear, they're going to shift with their right hand up. Whether they're a mountain bike or a road bike or whatever kind of bike, every bike works the same. So every bike from this piece of machinery and cockpit back operates the same. So if you want an easier gear, you shift to the bigger one. You want a little bit more resistance to go faster, shift down. Keep it really, really simple. This little bit of information, if you tell them in the beginning and it takes them 3 months to learn it, that's about 500% faster learning curve than someone that just goes buys a bike from me, doesn't let me tell them anything, goes and rides for a year. Then they come back and they're like, this is boring, this sucks. You know, I'm not learning anything from this. It's just I ride and it's hard and it's easy and then I get tired and then I get hungry and it's just like, well, you completely missed the boat. So that's my, but let's get into gear now. Okay. Does everybody understand this incredibly beautiful drawing? Because these are going to be questions that, if you have this, and you can refer to this on our website, probably a good idea to put it on. Do you have it on your website too? Well, good idea. Because it literally gives the anatomy of an entire bicycle. So you got, so it's nice and easy to start with what we call the top two. And this is all pretty simple stuff because it's the top two. Top two. This is called the seat tube because that's where the seat goes into. This is called the down tube because it goes down. This is what's called the central frame, the monocoque. This is what the bike is built around. You need to know all that? No. But the other parts are stuff that they're going to ask questions about. You know, okay, this is your tire. Tire is the rubber part. Well, what's this part? That's the rim. Okay, that's the internal part. These are your spokes. That's simple. That's common speak. This is your chain. Everybody knows what a chain is. When it gets really dirty, clean it. Please. This is called your chain ring. When I say big ring, small ring, that's called your chain ring. So if your new people or yourselves are out there doing some research and it says shift from your small chain ring to your large chain ring, or shift from your 38 chain ring to your 52 chain ring, it's saying big ring, small ring. That's what it's boiling it down to, is right here. In the back, you've got multiple cogs. I'm not getting into that because that's numbers. We're not doing numbers. We're just doing easier, tougher, harder, easier.
Let me say one thing about for newbies too, that took me a while to learn, it took me a couple flat tires to learn. You have to blow up your tires before every ride.
Yes.
That's one thing that a lot of people don't realize. It's easy to get what's called a pinch flat if you don't blow up your tires enough. Just you can hit a little rock on the road and then all of a sudden you're flat. And
Yes.
so that's one of the things we're encourage people to do.
She's exactly right. To elaborate on that more, if your tires aren't inflated to the proper PSI, which is generally anywhere from 110 to 115 pounds per square inch, you're just putting more rubber on the road. So I mean, if you want to ride on the distance of the edge of this pen or the distance of the edge of that water bottle, which one's easier to ride on? This one. Less resistance, more speed, easier, less energy exerted. Yes.
I was just going to say, in the beginning, actually work with them to make sure they know how to put the tire thing in. I had this athlete the whole time, didn't untwist her thing, so she thought she was putting tire in, and she didn't for the whole session. So just check with them early on.
There.
The PSI is always on the tire edge,
Yes.
and every bike is different. So you have to look,
Good point.
make sure you show the athlete where it's located and how to actually pump. So like Hillary said, they actually take the cover off and actually put air in the tire.
Well, there's two types of valves too, so just be aware of that.
Yeah, fixing a flat is that's a never-ending ballgame. It's I know guys, multiple Ironmen, multiple guys that have done multiple people that have done multiple events. They couldn't change a flat tire. They're like, they got a flat tire in a race, they're out. They wouldn't know what they
Well,
would
we
have no
have
idea.
clinics for that.
Yes. I just had one, and we're going to record another one. It'll be posted to the website. It'll be pretty slow in depth and time. The good thing about recording that is that you guys can pull them up on your smartphones. Everybody most likely has them. And that's one thing that I've told everybody. If you're out on the flat and if you're out on the road and you get a flat, you got your phone with you, pull up YouTube. You'd be amazed. It'll walk you right through it. You can find it, literally you can sit down the road and go, how to fix a flat. Hey, that looks like mine.
Which gets to another piece, brings up another piece of gear that I made for a drink today. Can you show your, I'm sorry, I'm such a stickler. And it's an
Guess who
emergency
keeps me
pack.
alive?
And so he brought his emergency pack, and it's just
This
attached
is-
underneath the seat.
Okay,
Just
if you want to know what
these
a
things.
professional bike mechanic, coach, group ride leader, person that does this for a living, industry guy carries in his pack, this is mine. It's filthy dirty, it's about to fall apart. I have a flashy light on it. It goes on day or night. Day or night. Okay? Rear light goes on day or night. You need something, if you want to set off fireworks with an elephant on the back of it, I don't care, just get their attention. These. Those are my pumps. These. That's my tire lift. That's how I get my tire off of the rim. Why do I carry two tubes? Exactly. Or I might pinch one when I'm changing it the first time. I don't want this to roll into a flat tire thing, but we're going to go quick. And then I carry enough tools to fix whatever I want. You know what I don't have in here that I almost always have in here? $20. Take $20, fold it up, and stick it in here at the very end, and forget about it. Forget you put it there. Don't ever think about it again. Because if you're riding along, if you're in a group, you're by yourself, and you're riding, and I come across you on the side of the road, and I've used one of those, and you have nothing, well, it's going to take about $20 to get my last tube and CO2 from you. It is what it is.
Unless you're cute, like a bunch of women.
No, what I mean is that I'm not just me. I mean, someone's going to come along and they'll help you. They may not give up their last CO2 or two, and they might just give you their cell phone and say, call somebody to come get you. But it's amazing what cash will do. So I'm just saying it's a lesson to learn. It will help. Not to mention, not to get too deep into it, this can be repaired if you do have a cut in your tire. If you slice your tire, you can actually insert a dollar bill. They're made of cottonous fiber that will not let pressure through and hold. So, any other questions? Keep questions, keep them coming while we have time.
How much is the emergency pack like that?
This setup as it is right here, 30 bucks.
25 to 30.
25 to
depending on the
30.
store.
Yeah.
And I would say the other thing for women, because it took me like 6 months to realize this, but a really important tool is some kind of chamois runner or glide or cycling short that can give you more comfort in that area. And, you know, I mean, it's just, so
Yes.
go to one of your sporting stores, talk to people who have, you know, share those kinds of secrets with your mentees, because they'll appreciate that quite a bit.
I know you Yes, ma'am.
The easy gear is the, which gear? The bigger gear?
Bigger.
Okay.
Easier is bigger.
Okay.
More
In the back.
more resistant.
In the back.
In the back. In the back. In the rear. In the rear gears. I always say this, save the left hand for the next lesson. Don't worry about your left hand. Just worry about your right hand for now. Every bike, mountain bike, hybrid bike, road bike, they all operate the same way. Left hand shifts the front, right hand shifts the rear. I always tell everybody, let's talk about the left hand after you've ridden for a while. Just leave it where I put it, let's talk about it.
Big changes and little changes.
Exactly.
Little fine tuning, big changes.
Okay, y'all need to.
Any other questions? We gonna wrap up?
Yeah.